Vanakkam. Welcome to our training course on SAP production planning. In this session, we will be discussing how to manage routing in SAP. So what we discussed so far? So far we discussed what are the different production types, what is the organization structure and how it is linked to SAP organization structure, detailed discussion about material master, bill of materials and work centers. We discussed fundamentals of routing. Meanwhile, to extend our knowledge sharing, I shared a group in an app called Telegram. It is like WhatsApp. There is a Telegram app in that with the name Learn SAP with Satyamurthy. That's a group which I formed. So whoever want to join, you can join here, where we will discuss about SAP related points. It is not just to say some good morning, good afternoon, or happy new year, happy Diwali like that. Only to discuss SAP. So it is the main purpose is to share the knowledge in SAP. Everyone can contribute there. Okay, right. Now let us come to the routing. So routing, to create routing, as usual, we know that now how to create the metal master, how to create work center, how to create BOM. Hope you remember T code for metal master creation is MM01. T code for bill of material is CS01. T code for this one, right? Work center like CR01. Like this T codes we discussed. Now for routing creation, the menu path is shown here. Production, master data, metal routings. Then you have this CA01 standard routings. So here we are going to discuss only standard routings. We are not going to discuss about the reference operation sets, the rate routings or other things. Those things I ask you to practice by yourself. Now the T code is CA01 to create the routing. When you create the routing, it starts with this is the screen where you have to create the routing. Once you put CA01, system will open this screen. First you have to enter what is the material for which you are going to create the routing. Now in this example, I am creating routing for the material called HGMC S001 GM1001. Then we have to put which is the plant in which you are going to create the routing. This is the plant number. This is the main point, key date. Key date is the date from which the routing is valid. If we create any production order starting from the date of 24th March, this routing will be applicable. If there are some production order which are before this date, the routing will not be applicable there. So that is the validity date of the routing. If you are keeping this key date as a blank one, system will take the date on which we create the routing. Right? On the date what we create, that date will be taken as the effective date. So please take note it. If you want to have some routing date applicable from the past date, for example, when you are creating routing today, for example on 10th September, but it has to be applicable from 1st September or from 1st June, then you have to put that date. Mostly in case of any new SAP migration or a new data migration, at that time past date may be useful, right? So please take note of this date. As we discussed in the last session on fundamentals of routing, we discussed that there are different details in the routing, which is having header details, sequence details, operation details, components, QM inspection characteristics, PRT and trigger assignment. In this course, we will be discussing about header details, sequence details, BOM and operation details. I already told you, you please practice for the QM inspection characteristic along with the QM consultants. And then you can practice the PRT and trigger point. There are many inputs available in internet. You can practice that. That is not a major issue. That after learning the fundamentals, that will be easy for you to do it. Now, when you are creating the routing, what are the things we have to do? These are the things. See, many people are asking, sir, why are you not showing this live show here? See, here I am not to give the spoon feeding of the screens. I just give you the input. So if you practice it, you will learn much better way. Instead of I show the transactions based on the inputs what we are discussing here, you can, when you practice yourself, you will learn much better. I am sure about it. So here please focus on the contents what is covered here. Then you start to practice it. That will help you a lot. Okay. Now when I are creating the routing, first this is called the header page. When I creating the routing, this is called header page. In this header page, first we start with the general data. That already before that, if you see, there is a group counter here. right? That is a group counter. So this group counter 1 means when you create a routing, default system will create a counter number, right, for each group. And then there will be a description, the metal master description what we gave, that the name will default appear here for this routing. Plant will also automatically pop up based on the selection what we did. This place is empty now, group, which means that will be created after we save this routing. The group number will be created there, right? So next is this usage. What is the usage? Usage is to make the routing available for various activities. For example, usage 1 means it is for production. Usage 2 means it is for engineering design. Usage 3 for universal. 4 means it is for maintenance purpose routing. Like that, different routings for different purposes. We use 1 here. And then we have next point which is called the status. Status is making the routing available for subsequent activities. For what purpose this routing is there. For example, routing status may be at the stage of created, or it may be stage of released, or it may be released general. Many different statuses will be there. So unless we release these orders, this will not be available for our production activities or planning activities. So status can be active or it may be inactive. So using this status, we make it is active or inactive. So it will not be used. For example, we want to create some routings which has to be tested or something. You can create the routing and keep it, but keep it as an inactive condition. So it will not be used. But if a routing is created, but it is not picked for production or anything, now you have to come and check status, whether it is active, released, those things you have to check. So this is one of the key point when the routing has to be picked or not. And then we have this lot size. Lot size is that what is that quantity that is minimum to maximum for which the routing is applicable. For example, to produce one product, there may be two routings, right? There may be two routings. One routing may be in a slow machine, for example. Another routing is for a fast machine. So the slow machine will be used for some 100 quantity produced, slow machine will be used. In that case, you put the routing of 1 to 100, create the routing in the slow machine. Then in the fast machine, you can put this quantity more than 100, which is 101 to what number you want. So depending on the purpose, depending on the quantity, how that routing is applicable also you can decide. Okay, this is many companies, depending on the quantity also the routing will change. Okay, so please take note of this point. And then we have this group counter we already discussed. Then what is this planning work center? Okay, planning work center is the work which is previously created and now it is used for planning and production of the material. Further planning metal is used here. So normally we'll have various work centers created already, right? Normally we would have created more various work centers which is created here. But here the planning work center, right? We can either fill or we can keep it as a blank so that we will refer this work center for planning purpose. That is why it is given here, right? It is only for the planning purpose and evaluation purpose. So again, I ask you, please fill this and test it how it is useful for planning purpose. And then the another is the parameter for dynamic modification. The parameter for dynamic modification here is the screen, which is the integration between PP and QM and SAP. Yeah? This is the integration between PP and QM and SAP. The parameters here, what we enter, that will determine how the inspection type, individual inspection lot, master inspection characteristics have to be picked. Those things will be coming. So because QM is integrating with this discrete manufacturing, please discuss with the QM consultant on how to use this option. Okay, right. So after entering all these things, click the operations. System will take you to the next screen. So here you are having the various operations. For example, sorry, you are having various operation numbers like operation 10, 20, 30, right? So 10 means first operation, 20 means second operation. So why the number is given as 10, 20, 30 in SAP? Because for some of the operations you are giving some 10 operations, right? In between suddenly you want to insert one operation. Sequence should not be changed. Then you can use between 10 and 20 like 11 or 12 like that you can do. To give that option only, line numbers are normally given in SAP like this 10, 20, 30 so that we can insert some other details whenever we need it. This is applicable in BOM, routing, orders, anywhere the numbers will be like this. Now coming to this, this is operation wise, the first operation, second operation, like this the details are there. When I have the first operation, We have the work center details first, right? There are work centers. Which work center we are going to engage? Which is the plant which is default coming from there? Here we are entering the control key. What control key has to be applicable for this operation? What is the description of the operation? That we will be discussing here, right? What is the description we are going to have here? And then we are capturing the what is the setup time, what is the processing time. For example, this particular product, to produce this one number base quantity, I am going to use 10 minutes setup time, 20 minutes is the processing time. That's what we are capturing here, right? So setup time and the processing time. See here, there is a column activity type. This activity type will be used to capture the cost, right? Because in this routing when we created, we did not allocate the activity type, so it is not showing here. But normally when you create routing, it is better to assign this activity type so that the cost will be captured properly. Please take note. Just because it is not here, don't think that we should not create. There will be activity type, we have to allocate here, right? This is the routing details of operation details. Now let us double click on this operation, right? Double click in this operation. We go into this detailed discussion. Here you see that operation 0010, and then we have this which is the work center, control key, whatever entered there, they are appearing here. Now here you can see the base quantity, what we saw then one number. That is a quantity that will be produced in the time mentioned as a standard value key, like a setup time or machine time or labor time. Here to produce one number, that quantity will be that to produce one number, setup time is 10 minutes, machine time is 20 minutes. See, for base quantity, if you put 10 and put setup 10 also, that setup, because setup, this is the setup time, that is not going to change based on the what quantity. That will remain the same. You produce 10 or 100, setup time will remain 10 minutes only, right? Setup time means what? After producing 100 products or 200 products, I have to change over. Like that, what is that only setup time? So it is going to remain the same. This one, where do we fix? In the work center formula. Hope you remember in work center formula, setup time has to be fixed as constant, that is defined there. So based on only the processing time will change. For example, one piece 20 minutes, 10 piece means 200 minutes will come here. Like that it will change. Okay. This is the setup time and processing time. Now in the work center, in the standard value key, we mentioned this is the setup machine labor. 3 we entered, that is automatically come in the routing. Now whether you have to enter the details here or not, the standard value key we have the controls, right? Whether it is must be entered, should be entered, like that. If it is must be entered, it is a mandatory field. If you don't enter it, system will not allow you to save the routings. Should be entered means it is a required field. System will give the warning, hey, you did not fill it, that's it. But it will allow you to save it. So that is the difference between must be entered and should be entered. Now here we gave this that based on should be entered or must be entered, whatever it is, we enter the value here. Another is here the unit of measure, the conversion of unit of measure. So here this unit of measure is very important. So here the coefficient what you are giving, for example, header one piece and operation one piece. If the routing unit of measure is, for example, number of pieces, operation unit, for example, it is kgs, right? When we enter that header as 5 kgs, and then the operation as a 3 kgs, 3 pieces means it will be 3 pieces per 5 kg. Like that system will convert. Again, I ask you to put some different numbers in this field and check how this is working. So please practice this. This will be very helpful to fix the routing in different scenarios. So various options are there. I will not explain all the points here, right? You need to practice this kind of points. And then we continue to do these operations where we drill down. Okay, when we scroll down, the same page, we are in the same operation page, we are scrolling down. When you are scrolling down, where there are other details also there. For example, we have the inter-operation times. Inter-operation times where we can enter what is the wait time, what is the queue time, what is the move time, all those details we enter. Also, there is option called splitting. So splitting is the option where we divide a large production into several smaller lots. If there is 1,000 numbers, but we are not going to produce 1,000 numbers as the same sequence, right? But you have to split like 100, 100, 100. Probably you have to do something in parallel, right? That is what we can do it with this split. So we can split it and then we can manage it. So system will check the number of splits and the individual capacities, what we defined in the work center, it will be there. Also there is an option called overlapping will be here, right? Using the overlapping, the system will pass the process data and the total directly to the next machine or parallel machine. Like that overlap also will be there. So now my suggestion is you please practice these details with the numbers entered. I am just telling these are the fields which will be very useful. Please enter some details and practice it. Main thing what is required, setup time, processing time, that I entered there, I am showing here. But other details are some of the additional things which may be required for various purposes. So please practice them. The required split or what is the number of splits, those things, please practice it. Right. So next, further we are scrolling down. We are seeing the general data here. In this general data screen, we are seeing various details here. What are the details we see? Like a scrap in percentage. So what is the scrap in percentage? This is the amount of scrap that is generated for the operation. So here the production in this operation will be reduced based on the percentage of scrap here. For example, 5% scrap means the 5% quantity will be reduced, right? Again, I suggest you please enter some details here and practice how this is working when you're creating production order, when you confirm the order, when you plan the order. So during planning, during production, during confirmation, what's happening, you need to check, right? And then here we enter some HR details. For example, what is the wage group, wage type for this operation, what are the wage details will be entered. And then this is the cost relevancy. For example, this operation has to be subject to costing or not. Here we will be, if it has to be costed, we have to put this X mark, which is the standard cost estimate relevance. When you put it, system will take it for costing. If you don't put it, this will not be considered costing. So please be careful. When a costing person is selling, costing is not working, means immediately you have to come and check this point. Okay. Okay. Now further we scrolling down, we see this tab of external processing. External processing is we have 10 operations. For example, there is one heat treatment. Heat treatment, there is no internal processing. We want to do it externally. So the same production order, same routine, only one operation has to be done as external means we can use this option, which is called external processing. When you have any external processing, first you have to select this subcontracting. If your operation has to be processed externally, the checkbox will trigger it. Now, based on this external operation, we would have defined with the purchase info record for this. There will be purchasing organization, purchase group details and vendor details are required. Those things will be entered. This specific point I will discuss later when there is a separate topic on how to handle external operation in production. That will be the later lesson. After MRP, other things we will cover it. But now please understand there is an option to enter the external operation details in routing itself. After completing all these things, right, we entered all the operation details. Now we have to go for component assignment. This is the component assignment. The component assignment, when we have these components which are coming from bill of materials, they will be assigned automatically to operation 10, right? All these components will be assigned to automatically operation 10. You will not be able to see them here specifically. But default, I told you in the fundamental itself, right? Now component will be assigned automatically to this what is it, operation 10, right? So here that's what the components are taken from bill of material. If you don't assign any specific component different operation, all these things are defined as basic to the operation 10, the first operation of the routine. And also here during the backflash, when you confirm the first operation, all the components will be consumed. So if you don't do any change, in our operation, some components we will not use in the first operation, will be the second operation like that. As I told, there is option how to do it. When you're doing these creations, we go for this metal assignment. This metal assignment is assigning this material to this routing, right? Because you have the header material, right? This is not component assignment. This is the metal assignment. This operation is assigned to this metal. Here we are seeing it, right? What is the metal is assigned? Just to confirm it, this routing is assigned to this particular material. So now save the button. Routing is saved. After saving the routing, see here, group number is assigned. 5001905 group number is defined, and also what is the date we are given, that is also given there, right? So with this we complete the creation of routing. Now when you are having several materials which are undergoing the same production process, you don't need to create separate routings. Okay, no need to create the separate routings. That's what here you can assign the material here, so that system will be allocating the materials. It will use the same routing for this purpose. That is what this allocation metal assignment is used. Now you will be thinking, sir told that control key will be explained during this discussion. Yes, now we are coming to control key, right? we enter the control key, right, for the operation. So what is control key doing? So control key is a very important thing which is controlling various options like scheduling, how to do the capacity requirements, costing, all these things whether to do or not. These are controlled by control key. Now we are seeing example of control key PP01, which is in-house production control key. In this control key, here we have the scheduling. Scheduling, when it is marked, system will schedule the operation. Also it will calculate the formula which is coming from the work center. If this is not marked, the operation will not be scheduled. Okay, operation will not be scheduled. And then capacity requirement. If this operation has to be considered for capacity calculations or not. If it is required, we have to tick mark here. If not, leave it. And then again, please see here, we cannot use this indicator without scheduling indicator activated. If you want to consider for capacity, scheduling has to be ticked. So these are some of the points which you have to remember, very important when you are setting the routing details. And then third one is the cost. Cost means the operation has to be costed or not. Again, that is also triggered here based on the this control key, right? See, when you enter this control key as a default control key in work center, that will come automatically to routing. In the routing, what are the functions are carried out? These are all the different functions. Okay. So next, we continue this routing itself. Automatic goods receipt. Automatic goods receipt means once the production is confirmed in this operation, goods receipt from this operation has to happen automatically. Then this automatic goods receipt has to be triggered. And then for this operation, we need to assign inspection characteristics. So after assigning this, if you want to assign some inspection characteristics, this field has to be activated. And then rework. So when this field is activated, and then we can identify if there is a rework case operation, so that we can calculate what is the yield and the rework quantity in this operation, right? That will be happen when you select this activate, right? Okay. And then again, please take note one point here. For the rework quantity entered in operation, no automatic GR will happen even though we activate automatic goods receipt. It must be posted manually. Rework. Only the goods receipt of finished product will happen automatically through this automatic goods receipt. But rework quantity you have to enter. Okay. See, each and every field in control key is very important. Okay. So this is the finally that after setting all the masters, control key is a major point which is making the link from the master data to the production order. You have to learn all these things very carefully. And then we want to print out these time tickets and also printing confirmation of the orders. All these is we can print it, and also the shop floors to be printed means you have to activate these printing options, right? These are the printing options. And then external processing. We saw that no external processing for the operation. When operation is external for external operation, a control key has to be created specific to the external operation where this external processing has to be tick mark. Okay, this has to be tick mark. See that there are many options. If it is left blank, there is no external operation. If there is a plus sign means external process operation is there. If it is X means it can operate for local and also for external for those things, right? So again, if you want the system to ignore the lead time and schedule as per standard time, activate schedule external operation indicator, right? You have to process them. External operation indicator, you have to process them. So these are the various fields which are available in this what is it called, control key, right? Also here you can see when you select these things, entering those details, those things also will be captured here. For example, PP01 here, printing confirmation is ticked here, scheduling is ticked here. Because we have not entered here the external processing, this is blank. See, for the next there is a PP02 external processing. Now if you select it, double click, this page will change for this particular, right? So if I click and see here, PP02 will show plus there for the external operation, but now it is not shown here. You just enter it and check them. Okay. And then in control key, another point is confirmation. When a milestone confirmation is selected, system will confirm, right, the preceding operations automatically. So again, how to do the confirmations? I want to automatic confirmation one by one. There are many options here again. So if a confirmation required is selected, means the operator has to confirm the operation of each operation details. We can also restrict the user not to enter the operation details at the time of the confirmation. Don't need to confirm it. All these things are possible. Again, what kind of shop floor, what kind of production entry, depending on these things, you have to select these fields. Okay. So that is why the PP consultant should understand the business process. What is the need of business process? According to that, you have to set these fields. Just like that, learning these things is not sufficient. How to apply them is very important. Right. Now we created the routing. We learned what is the control key. Now after saving it, after some time we are working, there is a change required. As usual again, change is CA02, right? So when you enter the change, we will go the material, what is the plant. Please take the date here again. So what is the date from there that is applicable. And then again, if you want to do this component allocation or you want to change sequence, all those things we can do here, right? Now you will select which operation we want to do. That also you can select and do the changes. Now when I do these changes, I want to do a change in the component allocation, right? So now what I am doing, that component allocation page I go, then for example, this is one component I selected, and then enter the new assignment. I enter the operation is 10 for this. Now just for testing purpose, I enter the 10 here. Automatically system is then after entering it, system is bringing this 10 here, right? So I'm assigning it. Now I don't want to assign this to 10. I want to put it to some other operation, right? I select this item and then again I go to this reassignment. There instead of 10 I put is 20 here. For example, operation 20 I change it, right? The reassign, right? When I put it, this select this line item, I enter reassign, then this will pop up. It will say from which operation to which operation to enter. So from 10 to 20 I want to enter. So I entered and save it, then automatically 20 would have been assigned. So please practice those kind of changes. Then I want to do the display of the routing. How do we do the display of routing? CA0, right? Just enter the material, then we can see that. After that, I want to print out all the routings. How to do it? Printing of routing can be done through transaction called CA51, where the routing normally it's created with the task type of n, material numbers what you put, what is the plant, what is from which date we have to need it. All these details when you enter, many other options also there, right? When you enter them, when you execute them, you'll see the list of the routings. It will pop up in the system. And then we want to do some mass change in routing. For example, this work center to another work center I want to change. I want to select which kind of routings we need, or from one metal to another metal I want to select and change. Various options are there. Again, I am not going to show that individually how to do these things. I am telling you this is the transaction which is available. I ask you to practice these things. Okay, so this is how to do the mass change. This is example of how to do the mass change of work center in these routings. And then there is a routing which you don't want it to continue further. So I want to put the deletion flag. So now CA98, when you put the metal master, then there is a deletion flag option is there. You can add deletion flag, and also whether log has to be created for this or not. That's also we trigger it and do it. Like this we can delete the routings. Okay, right. So in this session we discuss about how to create routing, what is the importance of control key, how to change and display routing, how to change the component assignment the routing, what are some different reports available for the routing. So after creating routing, next what we should do, we have to create a production version that we'll discuss in the next session. Please give your feedback for our session. As I told, we have created a group, Learn SAP with Satyamurthy in Telegram. Whoever wanted, you can please join there. We will discuss only SAP there. Okay. Thank you. See you in the next session. Bye.